Alright, you guys, welcome back to again to the art assets. Okay, project 2 is really cool. It is now the time to actually put the color in the drawing you did in project 1. All the line art and sketches, you brought them in, you scan them, clean them up with Photoshop, with all the knowledge from Photoshop and week 1, lecture 1 and so forth. And now in lecture 2, you're gonna learn seamless texturing. Okay, it's the bread and butter. Okay, you're gonna have to create textures, in project 2. Okay, for your actual level. So you're gonna have to create the brick walls if you have brick walls, okay, and make them seamless and create the little dents, and breaking up just like in the sample I showed you, alright, with the dodging and burning tool in Photoshop, okay, that will recreate more of the fake 3D isometric point of view you want, alright, you want a lot of chaos in reality, you don't want to make it too dull, alright, unless you decided to use a fairly flat shaded technique like vector graphic, okay, which is a different technique. Then you want a lot of details and you want a lot of shade, but flat shaded straight up, just like pixel art, okay. I pixel art the same way. If you do pixel art, you want a lot of details and a lot of contrast, okay. So it depends the art you're using, all right. But then that's when you're going to use all those techniques to actually put all the colors, in your project, in your level, in project 2. So the most important thing is, remember, lecture 1 is to create your actual light source. Where is the light and the camera are going to come from? The camera, you already know that because you did the line art in project 1 from week 1. Okay, now it's time to actually put the actual light source that's gonna tell you how to actually shade your art, your art assets, the colors and so forth, And the shading is simple, just like we see in lecture 1. Just use the main color and then use a default darker color for the shadow, and you start by that, and then a lighter color for the specular, you finish it up by that, all right? And if you do flat shaded type of thing, that's what you work, pixel art shaded, that's how you work also. If you do out of seamless texture using filter and photos and so forth and Photoshop, then you're probably going to want to do the same way but a little different. Instead of using different colors, you're going to want to use the burn and dodge tools, alright? Remember, when you use those tools, burn, dodge tools, and even colors, it's good to use them not full 100% in opacity. In the tool option on the top of Photoshop, you can find, an option that actually show you the opacity, and the level of the dodging, and make it easier for you. It's more organic. It's better to come back a couple of times to make it darker if you need to, because it'll never be the same, nicely and organic when you paint it. It will have more depth to it. And the key in that type of patching work, seamless texturing using stock pictures and Photoshop filters, is to actually have a lot of depth in the texture, you guys. So it's good to come back multiple times, alright? So now you do that in project 2, you'll figure out the angle. You gotta have stuff on the playfield, alright, or on the walls to give indications, of what it's going, the angle of the camera, alright, grain on the actual pavements, the way the pavement goes and so forth. Needs to be done in a way that it gives information to people where it's coming, the angle of the camera. It's very important. Okay, so that's what you have to do. You have to do it for your level 5 fully. Alright, you have to do the sky, and the sky is very simple to do. Nice and simple sky. You just choose the cloud filter. In the filter options, alright, you guys, I think it's in the render options. Okay, you have a cloud filter. You just put the 2 colors you want, alright, to be your cloud. Okay, to be the main colors in your sky, and clouds and sky, for example, or dark. It depends if you want to do weird stuff. Okay, and you actually use that. Click on that filter to make the sky, okay? It's really easy, and it works very well. You can rescale it after that and multiply it a couple of times if you want a smaller scale, depending on the scale you want, okay? That's for the skies. The buildings behind it are geometric patterns like we've seen in week 1. Okay, you already created them. You just have to make them now using seamless textures or the technique you want, flat texturing, shading, or even pixel art. Put a lot of, in the background. Remember, you're not going to want to have it very contrasty. Okay, the background, the far away background, if you look at my Champion Super Contra, is all in the bluish and violet and purple, you know, a very what? Low, you know, intensity color, alright? Why? But a lot of, you know, because it doesn't need to attract so much the eyes needs to be on the play field, alright? So the background needs to be low intensity like that, but a lot of details. So if the player looks at it, you know, and when you have time, you play it more, you can see all the art in it. It makes it very cool, alright? That's what the key is. Now the play field, alright, needs to be very higher color, higher intensity color scheme. Remember your color theory intro? That's when it comes in. Alright, you know, and that's when you decide, you know, that those colors, but you need to blend in. If you look at Super Contra, it kind of blend in from the violet bluish into the whitish of it, and it's delimited by the tubings, and the tubings are orange, red, which are fairly strong, you know, which will stop where the playfield is and tell it's a high, you know, intensity color and tell the player, you know, this is where you stop. Alright, so very important that you do that you project too. Okay, also the two sides, the beginning and the end, needs to be seamless. To do that, it's really easy. What you do is that you cut 20 pixels of everything at the beginning. Alright, and then you duplicate it, okay, you leave it there but you duplicate it, alright, then you cut it in half and you mix it, you reverse it, and each reverse half go on its side, so you know it will be perfectly seamless. And now you clone and use the healing brush on both sides to actually blend it in. Alright, I'll make a little video, I'll show you a little video out of that. I'll make a quick cam type of video for you guys so you can actually see that in Photoshop. Alright, and that's it. Now save it as a JPEG, not less than 45%, you guys, because then it gets to be bad. Alright, but save it as a Photoshop too. Alright, and you can test it as a JPEG. Now download the game engine. Now that you're done, you have the JPEG, it's all colored, you know. Take it and replace it with that name right here. Okay, the exact name JPEG and lower cap and, you know, upper cap just like that, or it won't work. Dropping into it in the engine will replace it and play the game, and you'll see your art into it, and you can see if it works or not, if the player can play properly, how it looks like on stop, which is kind of cool. All right.